Takumi stood on the rooftop, the city stretching below him like a ledger of failure. His phone buzzed with the final calculation. Margin call, positions liquidated, negative balance, 4.2 billion yen. He stepped into the empty air without a sound. A white light swallowed the world, and he felt his own existence shatter like a flawed diamond. He awoke to the smell of rot and the cold of cobblestone. His hands were smaller, calloused differently.
This isn't my body.
His mind still held the formulas, the strategies, the cold calculus of arbitrage. But his limbs were those of a starving boy.
I've read about this. Reincarnation. But I refuse to stay a beggar.
The city around him hummed with the clink of coins and the barter of guilds. A world of opportunity for someone who knew the true value of money.
I will own this city.
He spent his days in the market square, hand outstretched, watching. Coins clinked from wool merchants to dye masters. He memorized every price, every whisper of shortage.
Raw wool sells for 2 coppers a bale. Dyed cloth commands 5. That spread is exploitable.
One evening, a guard's boot slammed into his ribs. Coins scattered across the cobblestones. He curled on the stones as the man took his bowl. 3 weeks of begging, gone in an instant.
Pain is temporary. This system will be mine.
He began again, hoarding the smallest copper pieces in a crack in the wall. After a month, he exchanged his hoard for a single silver coin at a money changer's stall.
1 silver. That's all I need to start.
He knew the arbitrage route. At dawn, he would walk into the wool guild. The wool guild smelled of lanolin and livestock. Takumi placed his coin on the counter.
You? Buying wool? That coin better not be clipped.
I need the smallest bale you have. Quality doesn't matter.
The guild master tossed him a bundle. Takumi slipped out before anyone recognized him. At the dye guild, he held the wool up. They still needed raw stock for the next vat. The dye master paid in silver, a larger coin than the one he'd handed over. An assistant narrowed his eyes. Takumi pulled his hood lower.
I've doubled my capital, but I can't use the same face twice.
In the shadows of an alley, he counted his earnings. 2 silver pieces now.
1 trade, more to come. But I'll need disguises and runners.
He traded coppers for a tattered cloak. The hood would hide his youth.
Earn real silver. Run cloth to the dye guild. Tell no one.
With his growing purse, he rented a drafty attic room above a baker.
A proper ledger. Double entry. No one here can trace it.
Over months, he cycled wool and dye 9 times. Each cycle used a different urchin, a different cloak. A small fortune now hid beneath the floorboards. His silent partners were compounding interest, but the Lombard family's spies noticed a single silver coin was becoming a small chest.
Your pouch is too heavy for a beggar. Who is your master?
I only carry messages. The merchant pays me to keep silent.
Orsino shoved him and let go. Takumi's disguise held, but the family would watch him now. 1 year later, the boy in rags was gone. In his place stood a youth in a black doublet who moved like a merchant prince.
The Lombards are watching every market. I can't hide forever. It's time to build something they can't crush.
He leased a stone building and hung a sign. Takumi's bank, deposits at 4%, loans at 12.
Double entry. Every transaction recorded twice. No errors, no fraud. No fraud.
Merchants peered through the windows, but would not enter. The name Takumi was a ghost to them.
A boy playing with ledgers. He'll be bankrupt by the first frost.
Only one soul crossed the threshold that morning, a washerwoman clutching her life savings in a pouch. She set the coppers on the counter. Her hands trembled as she pressed her thumb to the receipt.
1 deposit. It's a start.
Orsino's mockery echoed. But the first line in Takumi's ledger was not alone. It was a promise to compound. He walked the market square each morning, offering loans at 12%. Reputable merchants began to listen.
I'll take 50 silver. My wool shipment is delayed, and the dyers pay extra before winter.
The first repayment sack clinked on the counter. Word spread like dye in water. Takumi's terms were fair.
Physical gold slows trade. I need portable claims, demand notes, redeemable on site.
He printed the first demand notes. A wool merchant accepted them for dyed cloth. Astonished by the convenience, Orsino fumed in his counting house. He sent an agent to demand early repayment of a debt Takumi had bought. The panicked debtor rushed to Takumi. Within the hour, full payment was made in gold coin without a flinch.
He paid instantly? Impossible. That upstart has deeper pockets than a ducal treasury.
Their money lending is primitive. They attack what they cannot understand.
Orsino's shame hardened into a silent vow of vengeance. Yet by spring, Takumi's ledger listed 30 families as depositors. He crafted a bond market, trading future guild revenues for immediate coin.
Bonds convert their future wealth into my present capital. Compound leverage no one sees.
The Wool Guild signed for 200 gold, swayed by the promise of spring fleeces. When a storm sank the fleet, the Dye Guild defaulted. Its master raged before the council.
This contract bears your seal. Pay in full, or the vats belong to me.
The council enforced the bond. Takumi seized the vats and sold them back at a premium.
Fairness is a weapon. They cannot hate a man who follows the law.
Orsino whispered of sorcery in wine shops. A beggar could never outwit noble blood without dark arts, but the guilds needed his credit. They swallowed the rumors and signed new notes. By year's end, every major guild owed him gold. The Lombards sharpened their knives for a darker remedy. A palace messenger delivered the summons. Takumi knew it was a baited snare, but a refusal would be weakness.
We hear your bank outshines the old houses. Some whisper you are too clever for your own blood.
Cleverness is only dangerous to those who rely on birth instead of arithmetic. Your Grace.
At the banquet, Orsino sat among the nobles, his goblet half empty and his hatred barely disguised.
The boy from the gutter believes he can buy nobility. A fool and his gold are soon parted.
Capital has no bloodline. Orsino, yours evaporates. Mine compounds.
The nobles laughed, but their smiles were thin. Takumi held the field, yet every eye promised a reckoning. The servants brought a dark wine. Takumi's cup was filled last, from a different carafe.
That wine is wrong. I will not drink tonight.
He lifted the cup to his lips and set it down untouched. Orsino's gaze never wavered. Outside, the knife was waiting. Takumi switched the goblets when the servant bowed. Orsino never saw the trade.
To your health, gutter rat. May your coin buy you a grave.
He drained the cup. A heartbeat later, his hands flew to his throat. Orsino crashed onto the table, scattering goblets and candles. Foam flecked his lips. By dawn, the Doge sat in judgment. The corpse was gone, but the accusation hung thick.
Who brought poison into my palace? Speak, or the rack will loosen your tongue.
It was Orsino. He meant to kill me. The carafe was for my cup. He drank his own venom.
The Orsino house is dissolved. Their assets are forfeit to the state. Let this be a lesson.
Orsino was dead, but the Lombard cousins watched from the gallery, their vengeance a debt unpaid. Takumi walked free, the de facto master of the city's gold. Yet the old families would not forget. Takumi launched a campaign to absorb Lombard debts, buying them for coppers on the gold.
Fear is the cheapest asset a banker can buy.
The remaining families attempted a last-ditch loan syndicate, but Takumi undercut them by half, one by one. Their clients fled to his counters. The old houses emptied like cracked barrels.
The city's credit is mine. Only a fool would challenge me now.
But in the wine shops, a rumor slithered, a new bank, run by a woman, offering contracts that mirrored his own.
Those terms. Short selling. No medieval merchant knows short selling.
He dispatched spies. The woman was unknown, her past a blank, yet her ledger entries were flawless.
She is from my world. I am certain of it.
A rival reincarnator. For the first time, Takumi saw a crack in his own fortress of gold. Risa's bank opened without fanfare, but her contracts spoke louder than trumpets. Short-selling options, netting, concepts this world had never seen.
I am shorting Takumi bonds. Buy the contracts at your peril.
Within hours, Takumi's bond prices fell like a stone. Rumors of a genius newcomer spread faster than plague.
She's attacking my core asset. This isn't competition. It's a calculated strike.
Takumi sent a message requesting a parley. She agreed, choosing the public plaza as their battlefield.
Lehman, 2008. I was on the trade floor when it all burned. You were Goldman, weren't you?
Tokyo Desk. I never saw your name in the filings, which is precisely the point, isn't it?
This city isn't big enough for two of us. I suggest you close your books before I close them for you.
He saw no fear in her, only the cold arithmetic of a rival who knew his entire playbook. They were equals.
I need a new game. Something not even a Lehman trader would anticipate.
Risa's agents slithered through the markets, whispering that Takumi's gold was a mirage.
He lends out 10 times his reserves. The math doesn't lie. Withdraw before the crash.
By dawn, a mob choked the bank doors. Fists pounded on oak as panic fed on itself.
She timed this perfectly, but I've been preparing since the day I opened.
He pulled a lever beneath his desk. A stone slid aside, revealing stairs into the earth. In the hidden vault, gold bars glowed under torchlight, enough to silence every withdrawal. He opened the doors and paid every claim in full gold. The mob turned quiet, then dispersed.
She knows my limits now. I can't survive another run.
Under a single lamp, he sketched not coins, but strips of intricately patterned paper.
Fractional reserve. Paper that isn't gold, but the promise of it. She'll never see it coming.
Takumi printed prototype notes with intricate seals, then handed them to his most loyal merchants.
Accept these as payment, redeemable in gold at my bank. A test of faith.
The notes were beautiful, impossible to forge. Within a month, the inner circle traded them as freely as silver. Risa's agents intercepted a note within a week. She held it to the light, her smile cold and sharp.
This fraud will be his ruin. Call the city council. I demand a public debate on paper money.
The great square filled with merchants and nobles. Risa mounted the podium, her logic sharp as a blade.
Paper has no value. It's a trick to print wealth from air while your gold sits in his vault, gathering mold.
The crowd rumbled in agreement. Takumi rose, unhurried, and produced a single gold coin from his purse.
You say this note is worthless. Give me yours, and I'll exchange it for gold right here, right now.
The merchant surrendered a note. Takumi dropped the gold into his palm. The square erupted with cheers. A herald burst through the palace doors. The neighboring kingdom had crossed the border with fire and steel.
Gold. I need gold for arms and mercenaries. Who will finance this war?
Takumi and Risa stepped forward, their plans starkly different.
I offer a direct loan at 6%. Simple. No bondholder mayhem.
Takumi unfurled a bond scheme, selling war debt to the public in small shares, payable in paper notes.
Approved. Issue your bonds. The commoners will carry this war on paper.
Within days, Takumi's presses ran day and night, printing government-backed notes in the thousands. War bonds, sold briskly at every stall, paid for in paper that promised gold on demand.
Now the war feeds my system, and Risa can't short what she doesn't understand.
Columns of soldiers marched out, their salaries in paper. The city held its breath, bound to his gamble. As the war stretched on, prices climbed. A loaf of bread cost twice the paper it had a month ago. Takumi watched calmly from his office. He printed more notes, but always within a calculated range.
This isn't runaway inflation. It's managed. He's bleeding my shorts on purpose.
Her contracts, which bet on Takumi's collapse, were now priced in depreciating paper. She was paying gold for worthless notes. She tried to rally, calling in allies, selling her own bonds. But no one would buy paper that fell in value by the hour. Takumi's agents moved quietly, purchasing her distressed notes at a fraction of their face value.
He's cornering my debt. I am finished.
Risa stood in her empty bank, the ledgers a cascade of red ink.
Now she will listen.
The greatest rival he had ever faced was now a debtor, and he owned the ledger. The last customer paid. The doors bolted. Risa's bank was a tomb. Takumi entered her office without knocking. He carried a leather folder thick with purchased contracts.
I now own your debt, your contracts, your name. But I am not here to gloat.
You crushed me. What do you want? A servant? A trophy wife?
I want a merger. Our combined intellect under one roof. With you, this city becomes a continent.
He could have thrown me in debtor's prison. Why parody?
A rival like you is wasted as an enemy. Together, we are inevitable.
She stared at his offered hand, the ring that promised more than marriage.
In my world, we called that hostile takeover. I accept, for now.
The merger was sealed. 2 reincarnators, 1 empire. Europe would soon feel the weight of their combined genius. A granite edifice rose in the financial quarter, its facade carved with 2 names, Takumi and Risa.
By decree, this merged house is the sole issuer of the realm's currency, a central bank for a new age.
Our notes will be as good as gold. We pledge transparency and profit for the public good.
A Lombard elder protested, but the Doge silenced him with a wave. The old order was no more.
From this tower, we'll reprice every guild contract in the city. Their spreadsheets belong to us now.
Lines formed outside the new bank for the new notes, stamped with the double eagle seal. The Lombard counting houses shuttered one by one, their gold now backing paper they could not control.
The aristocrats never understood that currency is just confidence. We've made ourselves the only source.
The map on the wall glowed with lines of credit reaching every court of Europe. The beggar had bought the capital. Now only the wedding remained to seal the empire. The cathedral blazed with 1,000 candles. Nobles and guildmasters filled the pews, their fortunes bound to the pair at the altar.
By the power vested in me, I bind these 2 houses and these 2 souls.
I bring you compound interest.
And I'll audit every decimal.
Their rings were simple bands of gold, pressed from the first profit he had ever minted. The Doge pronounced them wed. The bells of the city answered. In their new private office, the European map now bore a fresh seal. 1 house, 1 currency, 1 century.
I started with a single silver coin. Now I've married the only person who could ever stop me.
He calls it a merger, but I saw the flicker of awe when I took his hand.
The beggar from Tokyo and the Lehman trader now held the leash on kings. 3 winters passed. The Takumi Risa Bank had become an empire without borders. Their notes were legal tender from Bruges to Constantinople. Every mercenary and fleet paid in paper bearing their seal.
A century from now, historians will call this the Takumi Standard. Not a bad legacy for a beggar.
Legacy. We're just the algorithm. The real legacy is the system. It will outlast us and any king who tries to break it.
She's right. We didn't just build a fortune. We built a machine that feeds on confidence.
Outside their window, caravans arrived laden with goods, all paid for in promises of ink and paper.
We should audit the Frankfurt branch. I suspect the local manager is skimming a percentage.
Always the trader. Fine, but after lunch, I want to see the new minting press in action.
Their daily hum of commerce was the heartbeat of a continent, and in the ledgers, in the rising columns of numbers, the beggar's arithmetic had reshaped the world. In the market, a ragged child held out a wooden bowl, just as he once had. Takumi stopped. Takumi stopped. From his purse, he withdrew not paper, but a single gold coin, The first he had minted himself. He pressed it into the child's palm. The boy stared, uncomprehending.
He never gives paper to the poor, only gold.
That was me. 1 coin, no name. Now I own the city.
Sentiment. That's a leaky asset.
Number, a reinvestment in the future.
They walked on, 2 shadows of a former world, their empire, a fact on the continent's skin. For the next 300 years, the House of Takumi Risa would remain the central bank of the known world, and on its first coin, the profile of a boy who once held out a wooden bowl. The coin passed through many hands over the years, always returning to the house that minted it. Takumi, now gray, sat in the same high office where the map of Europe had guided his every move.
You still keep that old coin on your desk. Sentiment is a liability.
Liability. It is the only asset that never depreciates.
She took his hand, the coin between their fingers, the profile of the boy still sharp against the gold.
I did not just buy this city. I bought myself a partner.
The sun set over the capital, its towers still standing on the twin pillars of compound interest and audacity. In a distant alley, a new beggar boy found a copper on the stone, a promise, if only he could read the market. The system they built outlived them, a quiet, perpetual machine. And in every counting house across the continent, the first coin remained a silent partner. The coin did not tarnish, no matter the century. It was a constant in the arithmetic of empire. Kingdoms rose, alliances fractured, yet the paper that bore the double eagle never defaulted. In the deepest vault, the original ledger stood, its first line still recording 1 washerwoman's deposit. The alleys had changed. The stones were worn smooth by millions of footsteps, each chasing a copper of their own. Takumi's doublet hung in the archive, the gold trim still catching light, as if waiting for its owner to return. And somewhere, a new mind was born with the old knowledge, already calculating the price of everything. The coin in the beggar's bowl had never been about charity. It was the first domino in an infinite chain. Interest compounds, trust circulates, and the boy who once starved had, in the end, fed the very concept of value. The story was not of a man, but of a formula that outlived him, a silent, perpetual machine. And the beggar's arithmetic, once inked in blood, had become the very grammar of the world.